The football world has been waiting for the greatest player in history to speak, waiting for the man who defined an era to finally break his silence. And now, after weeks of agonizing silence, Lionel Messi has finally spoken. But what happened next left millions of fans absolutely speechless. At 39 years old, after the most heartbreaking defeat of his career, Messi sat down for an explosive interview that has sent shockwaves through every corner of the sport. He spoke about the World Cup final, about his emotions, about his future. And then, something happened that nobody expected, something that has left the football world in complete disbelief. "I've been quiet for too long," Messi said. "But now, it is time for me to speak. It is time for me to tell the truth. And it is time for the world to hear what really happened." But what happened next was not just words. It was a moment that transcended football, a moment that reminded us all why we love this beautiful game, a moment that has left millions speechless. This is the story of what happened when Lionel Messi finally broke his silence. This is the story of the moment that left the world in shock. And this is the story that will be remembered for generations. The World Cup final was over. Spain were champions. Argentina were broken. And in the middle of all the chaos, one image stood out above all others. Lionel Messi, sitting alone on the turf, his face buried in his hands, his shoulders shaking with tears. It was a moment that broke the hearts of millions. The greatest player in history reduced to tears. The man who had given everything to the game, left with nothing but silver. It was the end of an era, and it was a moment that the world would never forget. But then, something unexpected happened. Messi disappeared. He didn't give interviews. He didn't post on social media. He didn't react to the biggest moment of his career. The silence was deafening. Fans speculated endlessly. Was Messi retiring? Was he devastated beyond words? Was he planning a comeback? The theories were wild, but the truth was far more complicated. For weeks, Messi remained silent. He watched the world debate the final. He watched the world praise Yamal and pity him. And he waited. He waited for the right moment to speak. He waited for the right words to say. And when he finally broke his silence, the world was left absolutely speechless. "I needed time," Messi said. "I needed to be with my family. I needed to process everything. I needed to understand what happened. And I needed to find the right words to say. Only then could I speak. Only then could I tell the truth." But here's the question that everyone is asking now. What did Messi process? What did he understand? And what happened when he finally broke his silence? The answer left millions speechless. Messi leaned forward, his eyes intense, his voice filled with emotion. "I've been quiet for too long. But now, it is time for me to speak. It is time for me to tell the truth. And it is time for the world to hear what really happened." "The World Cup final was the most difficult moment of my career," Messi continued. "I gave everything. I gave absolutely everything. My body was broken. My mind was exhausted. But I kept going. I kept fighting. I kept believing. And when the final whistle blew, I couldn't believe it was over. I couldn't believe that I had lost again. And that is what broke me," Messi said, his voice breaking. "Not the loss, not the defeat, but the realization that this was it. This was my last chance. And I had failed. I had failed my country. I had failed my teammates. I had failed myself." The journalist was completely speechless. "So you blame yourself?" Messi nodded slowly. "Yes, I blame myself. I am a captain. I am the leader. I am supposed to be the one who carries the team. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't carry them to victory. I couldn't give them what they deserved. And that is something that I will carry with me for the rest of my life." But then Messi paused. He took a deep breath. And what he said next left the world absolutely speechless. Messi leaned forward, his eyes intense, his voice dropping to a near whisper. But that is not the full story. That is not what happened next. What happened next was something that I never expected. Something that changed everything. Something that reminded me why I love this game. "I was sitting on the turf," Messi said. "I was crying. I was broken. I had given everything, and it wasn't enough. And then I heard footsteps. I looked up, and I saw Lamine Yamal running toward me. I thought he was coming to celebrate. I thought he was coming to rub it in. But he didn't. He knelt down in front of me. He put his hand on my shoulder, and he told me to get up. He told me that the world was still watching me. He told me that my legacy wasn't lost. And then he embraced me. Messi continued, his voice filled with emotion. He held me like I was his brother. He held me like I was his family. And in that moment, I realized that I hadn't lost. I had won something else. I had won the respect of the next generation. I had won the respect of the future. The journalist was completely speechless. So, Yamal changed everything? Messi nodded slowly. Yes, he changed everything. He reminded me that football is not just about winning. It's about respect. It's about legacy. It's about passing the torch. And he made me realize that I had done my job. I had inspired the next generation. And that was worth more than any trophy. What happened next left millions speechless. Messi had finally broken his silence. And what he revealed was not just about defeat. It was about hope. It was about legacy. It was about the passing of the torch. Messi's explosive interview has sparked a massive reaction across the football world. Fans, pundits, and former players have all weighed in with their opinions. And the divide is clear. Some believe that Messi's words were beautiful and heartfelt. They praise him for his honesty and for his willingness to show vulnerability. They argue that his story about Yamal is the most beautiful moment in football history. Lamine Yamal was asked about Messi's interview during a press conference. He responded with humility. "I was just doing what felt right," Yamal said. Messi is the greatest player in history. He didn't deserve to be alone in that moment. I had to go to him. I had to show him respect. And I will never forget what he said to me. Cristiano Ronaldo was also asked about Messi's interview. He responded with respect. "Leo is a legend," Ronaldo said. And what he said about Yamal shows why he is the greatest. He understands that football is about more than winning. It's about respect. It's about legacy. And I respect that. Others were more critical. Some argued that Messi was being too emotional. Others pointed to his retirement and argued that he should have focused on that. But Messi's response to the criticism has been remarkable. He hasn't backed down. He hasn't apologized. He has simply let his words speak for themselves. And the world has been left speechless. The moment when Messi finally broke his silence will be remembered for generations. It will be remembered as the moment when the greatest player in history showed his vulnerability. It will be remembered as the moment when he passed the torch to the next generation. And it will be remembered as the moment that left millions speechless. For Messi, the moment was a release. He had carried the weight of the world on his shoulders for too long. And finally, he let it go. He spoke from the heart. He showed the world that he is human. And he reminded us all why we love this beautiful game. For Yamal, the moment was a validation. He had received the blessing of the GOAT. And now, he knew that he was the one who would carry the legacy forward. For the football world, the moment was a reminder. A reminder that football is not just about winning. It's about respect. It's about legacy. It's about the bonds that are formed on the pitch. So, here we are. The silence has been broken. The truth has been spoken. And millions have been left speechless. But the question remains, what happens next? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. The world will never forget this moment. Lionel Messi finally broke his silence. And what happened next left millions speechless. In an emotional interview that has gone viral across the globe, Messi opened up about the World Cup final, his heartbreak, and the beautiful moment when Lamine Yamal embraced him on the turf. It was a moment of honesty, vulnerability, and hope, one that has divided the football world and sparked a massive debate. The football world is divided. Some praise Messi for his honesty and his vulnerability. Others criticize him for being too emotional. But regardless of where you stand, one thing is clear. Messi's words have changed the conversation about his legacy forever. As the debate continues to rage, the question remains, will Messi find peace in retirement? Or will the weight of his words eventually haunt him? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. The world will never forget what happened when Messi finally broke his silence. What do you think? Was Messi's interview heartfelt? Or was it too emotional? Let us know in the comments below.